And this parasha is very, very interesting. Why I am saying interesting? Because this is the first parasha that incorporates a very different level of Torah. A very different level of Torah. So normally you must have noticed that besides trying to understand the spiritual meaning in everything, the Torah is also very, very practical. It is extremely practical. And there's a reason why the Torah is practical. Because all the commandments, everything that was given to the Jewish people and to Israel were practical things for them to do. It had to be performed by them. Okay. So today is one day I want to look at a very practical side. And this Parashat Behalotecha has a very practical side to it. So let's delve into this. Now, this Torah portion starts with Hashem speaking to Moses. Andy, can you put your mic off, please? Okay, so this Parashat Behalotecha starts with Hashem speaking to Moses. And he says to Moses, he says, speak to Aaron, your brother, and say to him, this is in chapter 8, verse 1. Okay. When you kindle the lamps towards the face of the menorah, the 7 lamps should cast its light towards the menorah. Okay. Now, this is very interesting. Why is Aaron given the duty or the task to light the lamps? What is the characteristic of fire? What is the characteristic of a flame? A flame always ascends. A flame always ascends up. It never goes down. The essence of fire is to always reach to the upper point. So when Aaron is supposed to kindle the lamps, the word kindle is very different from lighting. You can just light a lamp. But when you kindle the lamp, the Torah is trying to tell us that you need to nurture it for it to start glowing and growing in its essence to start ascending. So the Torah is not only telling us that Aaron has to light the lamps. He has to kindle it. He has to nurture it. So that the light of each and every of those lamps starts ascending up. Now, what is the menorah? What is these 7 lamps? If we look, and understand what these 7 lamps are all about, it's made out of gold, okay, first being gold. In the book of Revelations, in chapter 1, verse 13, it's called Sefer Hidgalut, okay, the book of Revelations. It reads the following. It says, and in the midst of the 7 golden lampstands stood one like the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to his feet and girded about his chest with a golden band. It's talking about no one else than our Lord Yeshua. So Yeshua is standing in the middle of the menorah. Now the middle candle of the menorah is called the shamash. It's called the servant. Because when they light the menorah, there's a tradition that you first light the center portion, and from the center portions, you're supposed to light the other 3 and the other 3 on either side. So the center menorah, the center one is called the menorah. It's called the shamash in Hebrew. The word shamash means servant. And it's very interesting because the Torah is saying that when Aaron kindles these lamps, it's supposed to be facing the center shamash. It's supposed to be facing the center menorah. So what does this signify? If I put 2 and 2 together, and we look at the book of Revelations, and we see that the shamash is actually Lord Yeshua standing in the middle of the menorah. And on both sides, these lamps are facing him. What does it signify? Aaron was given the task to light the lamp of each individual soul of Israel and make him face the menorah, which we see the answer for it in the book of Revelations. So we see that the use of the menorah is to elevate the souls. Now the word Behalotecha, the Parashat Behalotecha, if you look at this word, it comes from the word Allah. Allah. Ain, Lamed, He. Allah. What is Allah? Allah is to elevate. It's from where we get the word Aliyah. Aliyah is something that the Jews do when they return back to the land of Israel. They do Aliyah. That means they are elevating themselves. They are raising themselves to the Holy Land or to the Holy Temple. So Behalotecha, when you're reading it in the Hebrew, it says, Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe le'amor. Daber el Aharon ve'amart elav beha'alotcha. So in other words, kindling, nurturing, the word uses to elevate. So the task of elevating was given to Aaron, much like the role of what Yeshua plays in our life. Yeshua has to elevate each one of us. He has to light that lamp. He has to light the power of the Holy Spirit. That fire needs to be lit in each one of us, so we are able to ascend. Okay, so this was the role of Aaron in the Old Testament, and this is the role of Yeshua now with all of us. That is why the book of Revelations talks about Yeshua standing in the middle of the menorah. Okay, so I want you to put 2 and 2 together. It's very, very interesting. But this portion of elevating the souls is like a flashback. Okay, this, we will come back to this after we study the entire parasha, because it's giving the end before it's giving the actual matter. Okay, so to close and to answer what and why Aaron has been given this task, we need to move into the parasha. Now, this parasha, if you look at Tehillim, that's Psalms 18 and verse 28. Pari, can you read that, please?
Yes.
Psalms 18 verse 28.
Yeah? Okay. For thou wilt light my candle, the Lord my God will enlighten my darkness.
Wonderful. Now read 20 verse 28.
20 verse 28. Psalms 20.
Yeah, 28. 20:28.
20:28 is not there in Psalms.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, then the Hebrew Bible is different from the English Bible. What is it, 27?
20 is there till 9 only. Psalms 20.
Psalms 20?
Yeah, Psalms 20.
Wait, let me just check in this.
I think maybe 22.
No.
No, but no. 22 does not have anything like.
It says, if I got it right, the lamp of the Lord is the breath, life breath of man, searching all the chambers of the inner being. Must be 28 then. Let me just check. Psalm 28. Could I make a mistake in this? Oh no. Wait. I'll search it out for you guys. One sec. Just give me a break. Wait.
It's not Psalms, it's Proverbs. Proverbs 20.
Oh. Proverbs 20?
27, I think.
2027? Sorry, friends. Yeah, it's Proverbs 2027. That was a typo on my behalf. Sorry. In Proverbs 2027, it says, "The lamp of the Lord is the life breath of mankind, searching all the chambers of the inner being." Can you read that?
Yes,
Can you read
yes.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, searching all the inward part of the belly.
So the spirit of man, which is referred to there, is the Hebrew word nishmat, neshama. It's not nefesh. Because nefesh is the earthly soul, the neshama is the divine soul. So we're talking about the divine soul that God breathes into each one of us. Okay, the divine soul is the candle of the Lord, is the candle of each human being. And now this candle needs to be lit. So this is where the rejuvenation happens. This is where the born again experience happens, because there's a revivification of this neshama in each one of us. Now the neshama is kept in a human being that's born in this world. The neshama is kind of trapped because the nefesh now is overloading it with a lot of its attributes of sin, and the nefesh is coarse in its nature. Okay, very coarse in its nature. So therefore, please write this down. The neshama, the divine soul, is the lamp. It's the wick. It's the lamp in every human being that needs to be lit. So Aaron, the task that Aaron was given was to light each one of the Jewish people and elevate them. That's why you get the word Behalotecha. They're supposed to do aliyah. Each one of them are supposed to do aliyah. So aliyah, the concept of aliyah, it's not a physical thing. It's not about just going into the land, migrating into Israel, and saying, okay, I'm back in the land and I'm Jew now. No. The concept of aliyah it's more than that. It's about lighting this lamp inside of you and elevating yourself. Whoever is able to do that is in the process of aliyah. So these secrets were given to the Jewish people. It was not known to the world. This is what Paul says in the book of Romans. He says, the oracles, the covenants, the secrets were all given to the Jewish people. Okay. Now, we need to study how this aliyah takes place. But before we come to this aliyah, we need to see the practicality of this Torah portion of Behalotecha. Going ahead in this parasha, we come across the very next thing after this. God gives instructions about the Levites. Okay, he tells Moses, he says, you take the Levites, you consecrate them. You make them bathe, wash their clothes, clean. They will shave off all their hair. They will completely consecrate themselves. And then they will be fit and ready to enter into the service of doing the avodah in the Mishkan, and in the future it will be in the temple. All Levites from the age of 25 years onwards till the age of 50, they will be of service in the Mishkan. So the typical Mishkan service was a 24-hour duty. There was a morning shift, there was an afternoon shift, there was a night shift, there would probably be a general shift. So the night shift was more about cleaning out the Mishkan, cleaning out the ashes, preparing for the morning, getting all the things ready, washing the vessels. And they had a whole myriad amount of vessels, from pans to forks to meat forks there was a whole lot of stuff which was used. And the preparation, and it started again the next day. And the next day started early in the morning, 5:36 in the morning. That's the time the cock crows. You know what the cock crows is? If I never knew this. The night shift was ending in the first watch, around 6 in the morning, 5:36. But before the night shift ended, the high priest or a designated person of the high priest would go around. This was especially during the temple time, first temple and second time. Would get up early in the morning and would go around like a thief in the night, and he would create a clamor And all those priests and all the guards who were sleeping in the temple would be woken up from their sleep. He was called the cock because it resembled a cock which is crowing. So in the New Testament, when you read, when Jesus tells Peter, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. So it was not a hen or a cock out there which was crowing. Okay, it is referring to this one person who had the duty every night or early morning, who would come and wake everyone in the temple up. Get up, get up, get up, up. Okay. So the temple service, the Avodah temple service was rigorous. There was no time to be lethargic. There was no time to be lazy. The consecration of the Levites and the priests and the Nethinim and the pall bearers and the water bearers and all these guys who were involved in that, hundreds of them in their shifts, they had a very different life, a very different life. And this is the reason why the Torah portion hits the Levites now. And you will understand this as we keep going. After this, then it talks about the trumpets, the 2 trumpets. And God instructs them that when the trumpets are blown, when one is blown, all the elders would get together. When both the trumpets are blown, okay, then in long blast, then the clan of Judah will move, eastern side will move, and then the southern side will move, and the full encampment would finally move. If short blasts are given, then it's time to go to war. So, all this was all part of the culture that was developing and God had given them. After this, I think in chapter 11, we hit with an incident. We hit with an incident where the people started complaining and they're practically and literally crying in their tents. They're crying in their tents, saying, we have no meat to eat. Please, we are starving, we are hungry, we are getting famished, we are becoming malnutritioned, we are withering away because there is no meat to put in our mouth. And God looks at them and gets very angry. He says, what are you all complaining? There's no meat. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing such a thing? And then, God sends the quails and brings them in and throws quails. And then all of them are eating. And as they're eating with the meat, even between the teeth, God sends a plague and starts killing all of them. Till Moses intervenes and says, Lord, stop it. Please, 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 save them. But God is angry. And then we hit with another incident after this, where Miriam and Aaron get together and they're having a family feud with Moses. And immediately God intervenes. God descends immediately and says, the 3 of you, stop it, come out. And he warns Aaron and Aaron and Miriam. And he tells them, do not talk against my servant Moses. And then he punishes Miriam for 7 days. He makes her leprous, full of tsarat, and keeps her out of the tent for 7 days, and then she's brought back. So these are the incidents that look very disjointed, look very disconnected in the Torah portion. But let's connect what's happening out here, because everything is connected. Why is Moses narrating these stories in this Torah portion? And why is it in the Torah portion where it's got to do with elevating the people of Israel? So, as I said, we always have to learn how to connect these dots. Nothing is there just because it's written. There is an underlying story. There's a storyline which we're going to learn today. Now, why do I say we need to look at things very practically? Because this entire Torah portion is connected via 2 cords, 2 very profound human attributes, which is the foundation of all piety and foundation of all chassidut and foundation of our faith. Now we're going to deal in absolute human attributes. Absolute human attributes. The first attribute we need to look at which in Hebrew, let me share this. If I can share this. Screen. Okay, how do I share this? Who is this? Okay, I don't know how I'm going to share this.
Stephen, can you help? Stephen.
How do I share a drive?
Yes. Sorry, you want to share the drive, is it?
I'm on the iPad, so I'm doing this for the first time.
iPad, you have to use the same thing as well. You use the share screen. Use the share screen.
But what do I choose?
Choose a file from there.
What?
Choose a file. Okay, you have to open the file first. You have to open the file first. Open the file on your iPad.
Okay.
You got it?
Okay.
Okay.
It's on. And no, I don't know how to do this. Sorry, it's the first time I'm doing this. Screen, if I go to screen. No. Okay. Okay. So the first of the attributes is an attribute called Zahiri Zut. Zahirut. Zahirut is a word which means self-awareness. Please write this down. It's very, very important. It means to be vigilant and to be completely self-aware. Why is this important? And why am I using this word? Why am I trying to introduce you to this word called Zahirut? Because as human beings, we have to be absolutely knowledgeable of who we are, where we are, what we are doing, what we are saying, and where we are going. Self-awareness, it's the foundation, it's the bedrock of Chassidut and bedrock of the start of our holiness. Because if we're not aware of our surroundings and who we are and what we do, you will plod through life like an animal. Everything in your life will be of default. It'll just keep falling in place and you'll be absorbing, and you'll be doing all nonsense in life. And by the time you realize that you're down many years in life, you're going to be in a problem. Therefore, you have to attend to life not carelessly, but intelligently. This intelligence is very, very important. And the Torah keeps stressing, that you have to walk intelligently. You have to pray intelligently. You have to have intelligent conversations with people. You have to be completely vigilant. That means you have to be, alert at all times. Guard yourself and be alert. Jesus himself says, he says, be humble as a dove, but wise as a serpent. Extremely wise. You have to be extremely wise. Our walk has to be of this caliber. So now there are two ways a person can be vigilant in his life. One is, what am I doing right now? The present tense, this moment, what am I doing right now? How am I interacting with my environment? How am I treating the person opposite me? What are the words that are coming out? Is it compassionate? Is it kind? Whatever I say and do to the person opposite me is going to have profound effect for the rest of that person's life. The choices I make right now is going to define my life and that person's life. Is going to define situations. The decisions that we make every moment is very, very important. This is about self-awareness. When we lose this self-awareness, then we're living like animals. The second aspect of self-awareness is about your immediate past. It's got to do with reflection. The powers of reflection are extremely important to every human being. The reason why God gave us memory, the reason why God embedded us with a soul that is able to think back, see in the front, and to be self-aware right now is because we have to be ready to reflect of our lives. Every day, take a certain time in your life to sit quietly and reflect. The powers of reflection is what's going to make you a better human being. So when you typically reflect in your life, what are you doing? You are looking at your life and say, okay, I met this person, or I was in this situation some time ago, and this is the decision I made, and these are the words I spoke. It could have come out better. I could have done a better job. Maybe, okay, I said, it's the best thing that I could do. I did a good job. Everyone was happy. I did not sin with my mouth. I did not sin with another person. I'm reflecting, I'm analyzing myself. And therefore, when I'm in this mode of reflecting and analyzing myself, my present will be a lot better. I hope you're catching to what I'm saying. Before you'll pray, the mistake we make when we come to prayer is we start praying. We just start praying and we put words together and we say, and we start complaining and we start asking and we start pleading and we start doing, I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's not very, very efficient. The Jewish way, how we are taught to pray, is for the first 15 minutes to sit in complete silence. Absolutely do nothing. Quiet in your mind, quiet in your soul. Get into a place of perfect kavana. Perfect kavana. Once you're completely quietened down, then you start the process of reflecting. Once you have completely finished the practice of reflecting on what has happened in the immediate past, last 24 hours, then you get into a place of tefillah, of prayer. And then you bring all that you reflected on in prayer. That's the time God will accept it far better. You know why? Because while you were reflecting, you've already started the process of repentance. You've already started the course of saying, Lord, I'm not going to do this ever again. I will try and be more kind next time. I will be more compassionate. Maybe I'll accommodate this person better. Maybe I'll be more kinder to this person. This was a wrong decision I took, but I'm not going to repeat this again. If you don't reflect, you're not going to be able to have an efficient prayer. So there are two aspects to it. The present is affected by your immediate past. And then your prayer comes out more efficient and you're able to communicate far better, intelligently, and have a wonderful time in the presence of God. This only comes because you're aware of who you are and what you've done and where you're going in life. How do you course correct? Very, very important. The bedrock of how we have to intelligently walk in life. Now you all must be wondering, why am I bringing all this into play out here? Why am I talking to you about all this in the Torah portion of Behalotecha? We'll come to it. You will understand, you will realize. The second thing I want to talk to you all about is, after we practice Zaharut, awareness and vigilance in both forms, present and past, immediate past, and analyze and reflect, then we move on to another level And that's level of preparedness. It's zerizut, or in other words, it's called alacrity. Alacrity is so important because alacrity means I'm prepared right now. I'm ready. Say the word and I will do it. I don't need external motivation to or an external effort to start something. Now, if you'll think very carefully, awareness and vigilance of your own self has got to do with you and is centered around all the negative commandments. I should not do this. I should not do this. You're evaluating, you're weighing your circumstance, you're weighing your words, you're weighing your options. It's all got to do with, I don't want to do anything wrong. We are dealing with the negative commandments. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not, all the negative commandments. This is being aware. Whereas zerizut or alacrity is got to do with being prepared and ready to do, is dealing with the positive commandments. When we move from the topic of the menorah and we're hitting the topic of the Levites, now you will understand what I'm saying. The job of the Levites.
Sir, can you repeat again? Sir, can you repeat it again?
Repeat what again?
About the second point.
Zerizut.
Yes, sir. Yes.
It's about preparedness, alacrity, readiness, promptness. Seize the moment. Don't leave an opportunity right now. So it's about performing the positive commandments. Whereas being aware, vigilant, is to avoid the negative commandments. Okay, you understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So now I will not be able to reach alacrity if I'm not able to be a person who's aware and who's practiced, who's trained himself in avoiding the negative commandments. This is a human trait. Now we are talking about human practical attributes out here. I'm not talking about spirituality at all. Not about spirituality at all. What happens to an individual who is not aware of his circumstances, not aware of where he's going in life, what he's doing or what he's saying? We meet these kind of people every day of our lives, us included, all of us. Somehow during the day, we've just all messed up. One, we live like animals. And when we start living like animals, what is happening is that we are compensating and we're giving into the flesh, because now the flesh is moving from a place of activity to a place of lethargy and laziness. The reason why God gave so many commandments to perform and to do, it's because it's not a redundant thing that they have to do this and they have to do that. No, it's an antidote that opposes human nature and human attributes. The human nature, the nefesh, the physical body, the physical soul, by nature, it's composed of the 5 elements of water, air, earth, fire. Okay, each of these components has its own negative qualities. The earth, when God formed man from the dust of the ground, he had the earth quality. The dust of the ground brings a person to absolute laziness, absolute lethargy. The water element is the element in a human being that gives the man frivolity, pleasure. 70% of our body is made out of fluids and water. the attributes of a man's heart, anger, personality, jealousy, love, anything that's got to do with emotions comes from the element of fire. We are made, this is how God has made us. So this is what is going to pull us down. This is the natural Enosh, the natural mortal man. And God knows this. For us to elevate and to bring this into subjection, it needs rigorous practice. It needs rigorous training to elevate all this back to God again. Therefore, God knows it. So the antidote God gave was all the commandments. Do this and do this and do this and do this. Keep yourself busy, keep yourself focused, keep yourself occupied. Therefore, there is a distinction between the high priest, and there is a distinction between him and the Levites. Now think about the Levites. The Levites not only had to be people who had conquered and being completely aware and vigilant about their lives, because they were actually doing the work in the holy place. But they also had to have alacrity and they had to be prepared. You know, a Levite couldn't get up one morning and say, yeah, I'm feeling too tired. I can't work any. Yeah, can you go and do it in my place? A Levite could never, there was no scope. There was no possibility that he could ever say such a thing in his life. How many of us all the time, I don't want to come for Torah study today. I don't want to go to church. I'm feeling too lazy. I'm feeling too tired. I'm feeling... This is the antidote. It's the basis of everything. How do you prepare? How are you prepared? How are you ready? Look at people around you. You tell them to do something, they'll be like, are you serious? Yeah. Everyone has this attitude. Everyone has this attitude. Or, hey, I'm too lazy, man. Can you do it tomorrow? Can you do it next week? Procrastinate, push it. There is no zerizut. And God is watching us. This is not spirituality. I am not talking about anything spiritual at all. I'm just talking about human attributes and the weakness of human attributes. It's very, very important. When we conquer this, then from Am Israel, from normal Jewish people, we will become Levites. Metaphorically speaking, allegorically speaking. A Levite is somebody who has mastered alacrity. Therefore, he is being given to work. You know, in the kingdom of heaven, in heaven, there is no sleep. There is no slumber. In the spirit world, there is no resting. Nothing. It's only on this earth we have to sleep for 8 hours. If anyone has the impression that I've had a very tough life and I'm going to go to heaven and it's going to be glorious and I'm going to rest for eternity, I'm sorry, my friends, that's not going to happen. Heaven is full of activity, 101% activity. You're constantly doing something. There is no time out there to rest because you don't feel tired. There is no tiredness in heaven. You and me are in a preparation stage for heaven. What is this preparation stage? You know, the greatest misconception that we have, that why we will not go to heaven is because we are not working efficiently on earth. This is the preparation ground for it. If you're going to be lazy and lethargic and not able to do anything on this earth, no matter if you're born again, no matter if you've been in the Lord, is doing ministry work or doing all the work for the last 20, 30 years, you are not prepared for the heavenly kingdom, my friends. Now you see why the Levites are tied in this Torah portion. Besides all that it's telling us, the consecration, besides all the commandments they're supposed to do, it's telling us something else. Alacrity. They have to be prepared for avodah, for work, every single moment. And even when they're not on duty, they have to be self-aware of their lifestyle. They have to keep themselves separate and consecrated, because the next morning he's supposed to come back on duty in the Mishkan, in the temple. Then we jump to the portion where they're supposed to blow the trumpets. The trumpet is blowing. The glory of God is lifted from the Mishkan, and everyone's sleeping in the tent. Arey, one more hour sleep, yeah. You'll carry on, I'll catch you all after some time. One more. I just need to sleep for one more. It's not going to happen, my friends. It says that when the glory of God rested on the Mishkan, they encamped. When it left, they packed up and they moved. Sometimes they moved. Sometimes it rested for 1 month. Sometimes it rested for 6 months. Sometimes it was a year. Sometimes it rested only for 3 days. So in 3 days, the poor Jewish people had to open all their bags, rest for 2 days, and the third day had to pack everything again and move. You know how frustrating that is? It's absolutely frustrating. You and me will be pushed out of our comfort zone if that's going to be our lifestyle. Why? Because God was teaching them this activity principle. Alacrity. Be ready at all given points of time. Be prepared. You notice even on the night of the Pesach, night of the Passover, what does God say? You will slaughter the lamb, you will eat it. How? Standing on your 2 feet, with your loins girded, with your belt, ready and prepared to move. So we're looking at 2 tremendous principles in this Torah portion of Behalotecha. Tremendous. The alacrity to be prepared, you have to be prepared by Torah study. You've got to know your word. You have to know how to use your soul in powers of reflection and to analyze. The word tefillah comes from the word lahit palel. Lahit palel means to self-judge. Palelu, to judge. So effectively, when the word hit palel, you get the word tefillah. When you're doing tefillah or prayer, you're only judging yourself. This comes the portion of analyzing and being aware of what you have done. Isaiah in chapter 6. Isaiah is saying the same thing to Judah and to Israel, because God is now telling Isaiah, see what has happened to them. I've tried to bring them out from Egypt and tried to rectify this human weakness in them, but they've fallen back into the same problem. In Isaiah chapter 6, if you'll open Isaiah chapter 6, let's read something amazing of that. You see, this is the portion where Isaiah has a vision of God. Okay. And Isaiah says, in verse 5, he says, woe to me, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I stand in the midst of unclean lips, and I'm, okay, for the Lord of hosts I have seen with my eyes. He says, I'm unclean with my lips. I'm speaking all the nonsense of my life. I'm not clean, I'm not pure, I'm not tahor. And then one of the seraphim flew to him and took a coal and cleansed him, and he said, now you're clean. And then in verse 8, it says, Va'ishma et kol adoni et mi ishlach umi vayelech lanu vayomer hineni Shlacheni. And then he heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who shall go to this nation? What does Isaiah tell the Lord? Behold, here I am. Send me. Behold, here I am. Send me. Alacrity. For Isaiah to be in a place and to understand alacrity and preparedness, he would have been a person who understood self-awareness of who he is first and his purpose. The greatest mistake we make in life is trying to find our purpose in this world. How many agree with me that we have to find, our purpose in this world? How many of us agree to that? If you all agree to this, you all are all wrong. You have to find your purpose in your world, not in the world, in your world. There's a big difference. When you know the purpose in your world, then you will be absolutely aware of who you are, where you are going, what you are doing, what you are saying, and your actions and your deeds. Once you have mastered this, and I'm telling you, friends, this is absolutely anti-human attribute. You have to break the human attribute to master self-awareness. And once that is done, then you have to break the human spirit, crush it to be ready. Here I am, Lord. You cannot afford to be lazy. I don't feel like anything today. Can't. Now, the symptom of this is what we're reading in the book of Isaiah. Let's read a little more. Verse 8. Okay, let's read verse 9. Pari, can you read verse 9 and 10?
Yes, yes. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make the ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed.
Wow. Where do you find this? Where do you read this again? Where would you read this verses all over again? Who quotes these
Jeremiah?
verses? Huh?
Jeremiah 1.
Christ in New Testament.
Absolutely right, Ariola. Wonderful. Where in the New Testament?
I think it's Matthew. Here. Talking to the Pharisees.
Chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13. Let's read. Matthew chapter 13. We're reading verses 13 to 16. Can you read that? 13?
Yes,
13.
13 to 16. No? Therefore speak I to them in parable, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their uh, ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them.
What is Jesus saying out here? He's talking about the malady and the weakness of the human nature that they're not able to master, which we read in Parashat Behalotecha. We can spiritualize this in all possible ways. But Jesus is talking something very practical to human attributes here. He's not talking anything spiritually at least not in this angle. So what is he saying effectively? If you are not aware, you'll become like an animal and you're only plodding through life, and then you'll become blind, you'll become deaf, your heart will become black, you will not be able to perceive, understand, receive anything. You'll be seeing all the greatest miracles in front of you, and you'll be just inconclusively not apprehending anything what's happening. Jesus faced the problem with the Jewish people of his day and age. Just as we are reading in Parashat Behalotecha, which we will come to again, Jesus was facing the same problem with all of them. He says, why don't you understand what I'm saying to you? Why? Because they have fallen from what you and me have just understood. That's why I said I started with this. This Torah portion is not only about a storyline or there are stories that are disconnected. There's a common thread that is connecting all of this. Now, when we go back to Parashat Behalotecha and we talk about God giving them the quail, and they're sitting in the eating the quail. Why? They sought pleasure. And the moment God saw that they reflected not in the right way, but they reflected in pleasure, not in activity. They said, oh, we were so comfortable in Egypt. We were so good and happy in Egypt. We had the cucumbers and the melons and the grapes and the tomatoes and all the meats and all these wonderful things. When you and me come to this place, we are in danger, my friends. Be careful. Be careful. That means you've stopped being an aware person in your life, an intelligent person in your life. You've stopped being. And the next step is that you will start drifting away and you'll have no energy to do anything. Not even effort to get up and take a glass of water. Not even effort to get up and go to work every day. The root cause of depression, the root cause of all these modern lifestyle sicknesses is inactivity and loss of self-awareness. If we look at even in the church and even within the believers, if you're seeing all this happening with the believers, know for sure it's got nothing to do with spiritual. I have enough people coming and telling me, pray for me. Can you please pray for me? I cannot pray anymore. I have no intention to pray. Words don't come out of my mouth. Well, the answer is with you. The solution is with you. You have stopped being an intelligent person. God demands that you be an intelligent person, an aware person. And to weigh the situation at this point of time and say, am I doing something wrong or am I doing something right? Am I making the right decision? Did I just say something wrong to you? I'm sorry. Was I kind to you? Was I compassionate? Now. Very important. Because if I'm alive and I'm vigilant and I'm alert, I will be ready to do the right things immediately. Ready, prepared. Have you ever met anybody who's always on the tick, ready, thinking on his feet, ready to do things? And you see this person who's constantly in this phase, you'll be like, man, is this person on drugs or something? From where does he get this motivation? How does it just come out from this person? And you'll be wondering, while you are, creaking and gloomy, the sun comes up and you're feeling good. The sun goes down and you're feeling gloomy. It's raining one day and you say, oh, what a day. It's such a dull day. What nonsense are we talking about? What nonsense are we talking about, my friends? The solution to most of our problems lies with us. And Jesus is saying the same thing. These people are not able to see, hear, understand. It's because they've fallen into this level of animalistic behavior. They're not being intelligent enough as human beings. So effectively, what has Jesus done? What has Jesus done? God knew the human weakness. He knew that it is so easy for us to fall into lethargy and to just become careless for a second. One moment of carelessness, we are finished. When you look at the life of Jesus, when you're reading the Gospels and you're picturizing his life, oh, you have to understand, and you are going to see today, you have to see Jesus in a different light. You have to look at him and say, what a personality. Amazing. He says, behold, I work and my Father works. My Father works and I'm working. There is no rest. He tells his disciples, he says, at the well in the Samaritan well, he says, I have work to do. Y'all go ahead and eat. I have bread to eat and water to drink. He says, I have work to do. He tells that person who says, can I follow you? He says, foxes have holes and birds have a place and a nest, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. There is no rest. It's pure activity. Now, when you have alacrity in your life, you're able to have perfect activity in avodah, in serving God. Till then, everything that you think you're doing for God, God says is like filthy rags before me. All that you're doing is like filthy rags before me. So when Jesus was walking this earth, he showed us the perfect example of how we need to be. Intelligent, full of wisdom, full of understanding, compassionate, kind, full of awareness. At all times he says, I and my Father are one. I know where I have come from and I know where I'm going to go. He was completely aware who he was. And he always told his disciples, pray, watch, stand guard, for you don't know when the time will be. Stand, be vigilant. Never lose an opportunity to do good. Never lose an opportunity to perform a good mitzvah or a commandment. Never seize the moment. This is a preparation, because once you ever go to heaven, in heaven there's only activity, there is no rest, my friends. There's only activity. It's calmness, it's beauty, and it's only activity. This is a preparation ground. So this is the angle we've completely missed out, because we don't know about this angle. Reading the Torah and reading the Bible, we don't know this angle altogether. Okay, now what is the story about the meet? Yeah, Stephen?
Mark, if you can just spare just 1 minute, I can help you with the settings. Just 1 minute only. Then you can share screen after this.
Okay.
Okay, just go to the settings.
Yeah.
Click on settings.
On settings.
Yeah, on settings. You see a control center. You see control center. Click on that.
No, there's meeting settings.
No, there's a general. There's a control center.
No.
Just below control center. Just below general.
No, there's nothing of that sort.
No, the settings. Have you clicked on the settings? It's quite easy actually. You just go to the settings.
There is chat. There's meeting settings. There's minimize meeting.
No. Your iPad settings. Your iPad settings.
Sir, Mark, sir, are you using mobile phone?
No, I'm using iPad.
Yeah, you just go to your iPad settings.
So you will find it in more meeting settings.
Never mind. Just let me handle this. Go to the settings for your iPad. It won't take long. Just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute. Okay, you see the word control center there?
Yeah.
Click on that.
Yeah.
Okay, look at the more controls. You see screen recording.
control center. There's access to it within apps. And this
Yes.
customized control.
Can you see screen recording on the right-hand side? Screen recording. Yes.
No.
There should be a screen recording on the right-hand side under more controls.
No.
Because once you do that, once you click on the screen recording, you should be able to share already.
Okay. No, I'll have to check it out. I'll do it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, David. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Okay. So when we get back to when they were complaining about the meat, that they had no meat to eat. Now, what do you mean they had no meat to eat? They were walking around the desert with sheep, goats, camels, cows, everything out there. They were daily sacrificing meat in the Mishkan. So how can they not have meat to eat? What was the angst about? The problem is that God told Moses that they have to eat kosher meat. They couldn't go and slaughter meat as whenever they wanted to and just eat it and eat it with the blood and eat it the way they wanted to. God said, no, you got to be compassionate. So God gave them the laws of kashrut. You will take a sheep and this is what you will do and this is the way you slaughter it. And when you give it, then they never wanted the long way. They always wanted the shortcut. So who's going to do all this stuff? Just cut the sheep and goat and give me to eat. But I can't do it. So they were getting frustrated now. Why? Because they were not able to keep the mitzvah, the commandments. They had no alacrity. You see how this ties also into the entire Torah portion altogether. So therefore they went on a pleasure trip. It's too much. Who wants to do this? And friends, I'm telling you one more thing. The Christian church for 2,000 years, it said, we don't have to keep this and we don't have to keep, only do this and you'll be okay. I'm not saying no, rightly so, but the rigorous practice and training of becoming a better person is what we've completely missed out. And you look in the fine print, Paul keeps referring to this in all of the New Testament here and there. He keeps saying, he says, I've beaten my body down, I've subjected my body so many times. It is only Jesus who comes in this world and walks in perfect awareness and zahirut and in perfect alacrity. And he says, this is the way you got to do it. This is the way you got to do it. And he overcame the human nature. He overcame the human weakness. And not only that, even after overcoming the human weakness and nature and subjecting it, he achieved the mortality of the human body. He achieved it by taking it into glory because he perfected the physical body. And even when he left, when he was going back to the Father, he said, I'm not going to leave you alone, homeless. When I go, I will send the Holy Spirit. Now the role of the Holy Spirit is to enable us, to bring us into remembrance, into the stature and the beauty and the personality of who Jesus was. And say, see, this is the way you got to do it. Therefore, I started by saying the foundation of our faith, the foundation of all holiness and piety, the foundation of Chassidut, the foundation of our walk in the kingdom, it has to start, and the solution is with us. We have to be aware of what the Bible is telling us, start on this journey. The camp of Israel, the center was of Mishkan, the high priest and certain the Levites were allowed to go. Around that were the house of Merari and the house of Moses. They had a role. Around that were the Levites. Around the Levites were the common people of Israel. And outside the common people of Israel were the Gentiles and the Goyim. It all comes in from the outward to the inward to the holy place. You had to progress from being a Gentile. First, you had to come into the third area of the camp, the third camp, the Jewish camp. Then you got to progress to become like Levites. That means you have to be full of this alacrity to be able to do avodah and work. And then you could enter into the holy place and the holy of holy place. Wow. Tremendous. Now look at the last of the incidences in this Torah portion, where Miriam and Aaron are having a squabble with their brother Moses because he married a Cushite woman. And they are backbiting and they're talking something evil against Moses and they're fighting. It's a sibling issue. But God takes it very seriously. It's one of the 8 times that God is descended. It says, and the Lord descended. Out of all the times, one of the 8 times God is descended only on this earth. It's during this time. And God said, stop this nonsense. And he throws Miriam outside the camp until she's cleansed and brought back. And what does Aaron say? He says, Lord, he intercedes for her. He says, Lord, let her not be like someone who's stillborn, someone who's half born. So in the sight of Israel, in the sight of God, someone who's not completed the process of being aware, that means even Moses, even Aaron and Miriam fell into the same trap. And God detested it. She never knew what she was saying. She never knew how she was behaving. She lost a sense of awareness. And God said, you're going down the wrong path. Then when she was cleansed, she repented, and she was brought back into the camp. Started back on this journey. So in this Torah portion, all these incidents, they all connect. Now we have to jump back to the beginning. What is the beginning? When you elevate a soul. The many, many steps that are required even to come to Aaron, to say, Aaron, please light my fire. I want to elevate. Which is in the center of the camp, in the Holy of Holies. Center of the camp. When you light the menorah, when you kindle the lamps, if any soul came to Aaron and said, Aaron, please light my fire, Aaron was able to kindle that light. Wonderful. So, friends, we have so many complaints. Sometimes we're not motivated. Sometimes we're not ready. Sometimes we are tired. Sometimes all these things are happening in our lives. We just have some water. We have to be careful of where we're heading. We have to be careful of where we're heading. Because to be in ministry, to do God's work, to be part of Avodah, to do service, it means something else. And if you and me have not started this journey as yet, I'm not talking about the spiritual things, I'm talking about the human attributes. If you're not able to break through our human attributes, then Jesus is saying, I'm not going to be able to be talking to you because your eyes cannot see. Your heart has become dark. Your ears cannot hear. You become completely blind, my friends. Isaiah said the same thing to the Jewish people in his book in chapter 6. And Jesus is saying the same thing to Jewish people now. And I'm saying the same thing to the believers today in our church, in our congregation, and everywhere all around the world. Open your eyes, alacrity, and awareness. Then only Aaron can light that fire and elevate you. Then only Yeshua can elevate you. You cannot be lazy and expect Jesus to do what he's supposed to do. Can't. So I said I'm going to talk to you all on a very practical side of the Torah today, because this is what kind of hit me. And a lot I also studied from a very amazing rabbi who lived in the mid 18th century. His name is Ramkhan, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto from Padua, Italy. He was an Italian rabbi who later on in his life, became very messianic, and he believed in Jesus towards the end. But he talks about so many things that we've discussed today. So many things. And I've learned a lot from that rabbi. Tremendous learning. He says, this is it. If you're not able to know who you are and understand what your role is in your world, not in the world. There's a big difference in this. What is your role in your world? What are you supposed to do? Not what you're supposed to do in the world. What are you supposed to do in your world? Now, when you read the personality and you're understanding the personality of Jesus, you will see this all over the New Testament. You will see his personality shine in front of you and say, wow, I want to be like this. I want to be like this. I want to be ready. I want to be approved. I cannot feel lazy. I cannot feel, down. I cannot feel demotivated. I can't. But there's no scope for all that. No way. So I'm telling you all this because, we're all on this journey together, friends. We're all on this journey together. We're also even I'm also dealing with so many things in my life. But it's important for us to start this journey. And this is what I wanted to share with you all today. The next time you'll feel like this, don't go running to any pastor or any and say, please pray for me. Rubbish. The solution is in your hands. You make the difference to your life. Know your purpose in your world. Okay. So friends, I'll stop here because we need to reflect on all that we've learned. So anything I want to discuss, anything I want to say, please go ahead.